Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast. Well, good afternoon. I was going to say good evening. I guess it depends where you're at. I'm Brett Davis, of course, with the Brett Davis Podcast, coming to you from beautiful Coronado, home of the best 4th of July parade in the country, of course, with the best board and just the best city. Well, I'm a little partial, but anyway, I'm very honored today to have my guest, Jamie N. Piearcy, of course, on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, author, contortionist. What else have I left out?
Ballerina for 13 years.
That's right. How did I forget
Fun
that? What else?
Well, a poet, I suppose you could call me. That's pretty much it for now.
I really like your poetry.
Thank you.
It's very in depth, and the words that you use are almost like from another time.
Well,
Have you ever heard that before?
I haven't. That's
You're like a very old soul who's lived many lives, and you have all this wisdom in your poems.
Thank you.
And you have so many different parts of yourself, compartments.
Yes.
Where does that come from?
Well, a lot of it comes from, as you said, I'm an old soul, and I think that I've grown up reading, very old literature, like The Picture of Dorian Gray, a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. And so a lot of my, I guess, emotions and the way I express them stems from like their way of expressing those. So a lot of the word choices that I use and things like that is really heavily inspired by the poets of old.
So creative people typically are very visual. Do you see, when you're reading and when you're creating, do you see these images or things in your mind that transport you from there to paper or expression through being a contortionist? I mean, where does that all come from? I mean, is there a visualization? Do you just feel it? I mean, how does it all work?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of visualization. I mean, when you're writing something, when I'm writing something, I guess, I usually see it in my mind as kind of like a movie. And so I'll picture the story as if it's a movie, and then I'll kind of try to describe it from there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so like dance and contortion plays a huge part of my life as well. So a lot of times when I'm writing, fight scenes and maybe death scenes and things like that, I'll take my inspiration from real life, contortion or ballet moves and just how people are able to like move around each other from there.
Where does the contortion part come from? I mean, because somebody doesn't say, I'm going to be a contortionist. Right. Where does that come from? How does that happen?
Well, since I've got this ballet foundation of dance education, and I did gymnastics for a couple years. I took circus classes with Sophia Isadora and the San Diego Circus Center, and I guess I've always been a bendy kind of person, so it was kind of a natural progression.
Bendy kind of person?
Yeah.
That's cool. In a little bit, I think you have a surprise for us.
I do. I actually have a little video of a performance from 2019 that I would like to show, if you don't mind.
Okay. You and the audience are going to be very have mixed emotions and feel very twisted about this.
Thank you.
Now I feel really stiff. Seeing, I mean, I now I definitely need to work on my flexibility. I'll never do anything like that. But
Wow.
the thing is, when people say the word contortion, probably different images come into most people's minds, but you've been able to create beauty with beautiful music and movement and the way you flow. It's flawless.
Thank you so much. It
Where's your
definitely
are you
has a
where
lot of practice.
where's your mind? Where's your mind when you're doing that? Is there a blank? I mean, are you seeing something?
It's definitely well, so I have a lot of practice behind me before these performances. And so usually what I'll do is I'll video each practice so that I can watch it back and see, where I need to go faster to meet the music, how, and oftentimes like special moves that I do, they won't fit into the piece or they won't like flow smoothly. And so what I do is when I look back on these videos, I kind of like memorize it.
Mhm.
And so then when I'm performing, I'm like watching the video in my head of the practice and just seeing like, okay, well, here's the music. I gotta like, oh, slow down this part. So that's pretty much it.
Have you ever cramped up?
Well, yes, I have. Luckily, it hasn't happened on stage yet.
Okay, good.
But
That'd be the
yes, it
that'd be
has
the
happened.
that would be the worst. Imagine if you were like shaped like a circle.
Oh my
They had to
god,
come and
yeah.
get you and carry you off stage,
They just have to like crank you out into
right?
straight again.
Or roll you off stage. Sorry, I'm
That
just
is
kidding
my
you.
nightmare for
So
sure.
I'm not joking, but I'm just amazed at what she can do. I mean, all of you that are watching have to be also. I mean, it's just crazy. And by the way, Dale's watching. I wanted to say hi, Dale. Didn't get a chance to say hi earlier, but hello, good to see you. And just amazing. So the other day we had the opportunity to go to the library. And by the way, everybody, she just graduated high school from Coronado High School.
Yes, yes.
Pretty good grades too.
I would like to think so.
I think they mentioned you at graduation.
Oh, yes, I was spoken of
Right?
as future author,
Yeah,
senior
I
superlative.
remember that. Do you remember that, Sarah?
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, but the crazy thing is, I don't believe in a coincidence. And so, when we got involved with the talent show, is where we met you through Larry and Alan, of course, at Coronado's Got Talent. Uh, it was really odd because they came here to the office wanted me to do a video, and they said, "Oh, you're going to be talking about the contortionist."
Yeah, I
And
remember
I'm
that.
like, "Really, a contortionist, huh? Remember that? Did you forget that?"
Yeah, I forgot.
And I'm like, so that was the first introduction. And then we saw you on stage, and I looked at my wife and I said, why can't you do that? No, I didn't say that. I said, can you believe, can you believe this young lady, how talented she is? And we were just in awe. And then of course it just seems like you keep coming into our each other's energy without even trying, which is kind of cool. And you're inspiring, of course, because
Thank you.
you've got this amazing book on poetry. You've probably been doing was one called Moist Dirt. Was it
Oh my gosh, yeah, my first poem ever,
Moist Dirt?
Moist Dirt.
Yeah. What did you hold? Yeah, hold the book up.
Oh, yes. Okay. So
Moist Dirt.
it was about how much I hate it. So my parents and we used to go hiking a lot in like Yosemite and
Wow.
the redwoods and stuff like that when I was
Beautiful.
little.
Beautiful.
And apparently I was very tired that day. So I wrote Moist Dirt, which was about how much I hated the hike that we were on. And I have since graduated from Moist Dirt to this book, Visions of You and Me, which I published in 2021. And it is available on Amazon.
And we purchased a copy, and we were very lucky to get her autograph because there'll be a time where you probably have to pay a lot of money for that autograph. So this is a great time to support this young lady and her endeavors, because I see big things and great things already happening, and I'm just so amazed at what you're doing already. So you mentioned people like Poe.
Yes.
Not my dog, by the way, if anybody knows my dog's name is Poe. But Edgar Allan Poe, of course, who was very gothic and very,
Yes.
transported people like you do. has been an inspiration. And who else?
Well, William Butler Yeats is a huge inspiration to me. I think who else? Let's see. I'm like totally blanking right now.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite small verse from Yeats? Yeats?
Um, Not that I can recall off the top of my head.
I put you on
I
the spot,
just
didn't I? Do
I
you have
just
a
read a
Do
book
you
of
have a
his.
favorite two or three poems that stand out in your book that you really connect
Yes.
with? I mean, you
Yes,
probably connect with all
definitely.
of them, but can you read a couple, two or three for us?
I would love
Because
that.
I'd like the
Yes.
audience to hear
Okay,
the
sure.
amazing work you've done.
Yeah, I would really like that. So, a couple of my, well, I mean, all of my poems are very personal to me. I write, not all of them come from like experience, but, all of them have some sort of truth in some way to them. And so, like this one that I wrote was about summertime, kind of. And so, shall I read it? It's called
Sure.
Mors Amoris. It's a sonnet. It goes, "My darling girl, I only speak the truth, that which simply tears the world apart is waiting for the rest of hell-torn youth, thy restless soul to steal from my saddened heart. Let me compare thee to an empty sky. It is pure wonder, starlit and forlorn. Kind drought dries the wild picnics of July, and summertime laments the love I mourn. Thine eyes search towards the mighty heaven's gold, ignoring me who watches from below. As gardens spring to life, O God of old, no man would think that thou wert once my bow. From life to death, then death to sweetest bliss, all strife was only for the sweetest kiss."
Very nice.
Wow.
Thank you. That
Very nice.
one is about just kind of lost love. Oh, this is sorry.
Lost love and a lost microphone.
Yes, a lost microphone. Can I move this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Is that good?
Is this better?
Read another one for us.
Okay, sure. Let's see.
I'm actually enjoying this.
Well, so here's a very short one. It's called You. I guess love is a kind of destruction. You don't notice until it's too late. But it isn't as if I mind being torn apart, because as you hold me up by my crumbling ribs, all I can think is, it's you, it's you, it's you. So that's a short one. And
What was that about?
well, I had this image actually in my head of a decaying body, and I was thinking about how, when bodies are left in the wild for a long time, the earth kind of starts to close around them, and moss, covers up the bones and things like that, and it's kind of it's a it's a poetic way of death to return to life. And so I was thinking about how love can be kind of the same way.
Interesting.
Yeah, and how, the love can be consuming, and sometimes you don't even notice.
And there also could be a death with love.
Yeah, definitely.
Give us another one.
Okay.
These are really good.
Thank you.
This is producer Sarah, and I have to.
Do you have a poem, producer Sarah, that you'd like to read to us?
I don't, but you know what? Your poems are so deep and so mature.
Thank you.
And so well.
It's like they've
written.
it's like you've lived this like very mature, far away life.
Well, I can't believe you're writing this. This is, you're young, you've just graduated from high school. It's like Brett said, it's like an old soul. It's coming from somewhere that I don't know. I can't even explain it. It's just amazing. I got goosebumps.
Thank you. That's a very high praise.
I don't think I've ever heard her praise anybody that much.
Gosh, I'm so special. Thank you.
She's a pretty tough critic. That's impressive.
Well, I've got one more for you here. This one actually came from kind of the same place, actually, but it's called Sometimes I Wonder. Sometimes I wonder if I sat here for years, could I write everything important about you? Could I scrawl down everything that ever meant anything right here on this page? Could I catalog every emotion, every sunset, every kiss, every life? Surely I know that it's impossible, but every so often I have the urge to curl up on the windowsill and write down my whole mind, my whole memory, the past, the present, and that everlasting future. Sometimes I wonder if I looked at the ocean for hours, would it turn the same shade as your eyes? Would the grass be as soft? Would the wind be as cool and fresh as it was when we were standing against it, watching the sunset with the blood of blueberries staining our lips? I pine for you in a way that makes me sad, as even now I know that this is a love letter and you will never see it. I wish that you and I could freeze time and go back there, curled up in bed, listening to the rain hit the window, your hair warming my bare shoulder, breathing deep in the claws of slumber. Will I ever be whole again without you? Sometimes I wonder.
Very nice.
Now, do you have a muse?
Yes, I do. And I'm afraid I can't share it because it is a person who is alive. But
Okay.
It's a person that what?
Alive.
it is a person who is alive.
Person that's alive.
That's
So-
okay. You know, that's personal. That's coming from, you know, with, I mean, that's your muse. If that, wow. Wow.
You're my muse.
Thank you.
You are. You always have been.
Oh.
So sweet.
Am I your muse?
I know. I knew you were waiting for
Do
me
I-
to say that. but
Do I amuse you? Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm really not that funny. I know you guys agree with that. So, but anyway.
Yes, you are my muse, Brett
good.
Davis.
Wow. I'll
Yes.
pay you later
And yes,
for that.
you amuse me.
I amuse you.
Where-
Do I amuse you? How
Okay, tell
funny?
her-
Like a
tell her
clown?
that.
Like
Tell her where that movie comes from.
from Goodfellas. It's a very
Ah.
dark scene in the movie. But anyway,
Yeah. Do I amuse
amuse
you?
you like funny how? Like a clown? Like funny?
It's terrible.
Anyway. So everybody out there, I highly recommend getting, of course, visions of you and me. Of course, so we can see there we go right there. Amazon.
Yes, it is available on all platforms of Amazon. So Amazon UK, Amazon Brazil,
Wow.
everywhere.
And then, of course, we have The End of Heaven.
Yes.
And I have a question about that.
Okay, yeah.
Just the title, The End of Heaven. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to know what is this about?
Well, that is a great question. So, all of these stories, this is a collection. It's 7 short stories and 1 novella. The novella is like the last half of the book. And these are all stories that I wanted to portray as kind of, they're all very dark stories. They're gruesome stories. And I thought a lot about how violence is so, I think that violence and cruelty are not like important parts. They're not crucial to the human experience, but I do think that they are in some ways inevitable. And so I kind of wanted to, and I think that's sad, and so I kind of wanted to write stories that showcase the effects of kind of needless cruelty. And so there's a lot of mafia. There's a couple mafia stories. There's
Really?
a couple, yes. It's not that I'm writing from experience, but
Sure.
She knows where all the bodies are buried.
Of course, I'm doing my Joe Pesci imitation, and then she starts talking about mafia. Nope, this was not planned. There's a lot of connection here.
yes.
Very mafia in the United States or mafia somewhere else.
Well, one of the stories is about mafia crime families in Seattle, and I'm not actually sure if there are any crime families in Seattle.
They are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, there you go. It's all fictional, but
Of course it is.
There's crime family in Seattle, and then there's a story about warring crime families in Italy, and this kid who is kind of caught between them. So that's
Well, I'll
Okay, I need to get that book as well.
I knock a book out at least. I just finished that book the other day I was reading about the New Jersey housewife's husband. That was pretty kind of an interesting book. That's done. Joe,
Oh, yeah,
Joe,
yeah. I don't.
whatever
I
his name
didn't-
is. Good, really good book. And then we had we have a lot of authors come on the show. Yeah, but I like the fact that I don't think we ever had anybody that's done poetry. This is a first, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
fun.
Well, your writing's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but can they dance like her too?
No, well, I mean,
I mean, that's a whole other story.
So what I mean, because you got a pretty good start on a lot of things. And what would you want to do next that you haven't done? I mean, there's got to be some things out there, right?
Definitely. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in.
Huge bucket list.
Huge bucket list. Yes. And hopefully it's going to be completed. But yeah, I mean, I've got a book in the works right now, which is just a bigger project than I could have ever foreseen. It's a military fiction, and so I didn't realize like how much research and how much
Yeah.
work. And I did so much mafia research that I think the FBI is tailing me now. But
I'm gonna start worrying if I say, "Hey, Jamie," you're gonna like, forget about it. Jamie, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they might be even more concerned now with all the research I've been doing.
Well, I mean, again, it's fiction, so I
Yeah.
mean, we don't believe in all that
Of
stuff.
course, it is. Disclaimer. But yeah, and so there's one thing.
What about a movie script? You thought about doing a movie
love
script?
that. Yes,
Have you thought about that?
I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
So I
written a few
think
short films.
based on some of what you've read so far, I totally can see a movie script coming from you.
That would be amazing.
And you maybe even play some of the characters,
That would be fun.
right?
That would be so much fun.
I mean, write, direct it, produce it, have an
Yeah.
acting role in it. Every really creative directors like Hitchcock, or what's the guy that did The Sixth Sense? What was his name?
Oh, Stanley.
No,
No, that wasn't.
he's from Philadelphia, and he always shoots the movies in Philadelphia. But they always appear in their movies. They make an appearance for a couple minutes and then they're gone.
Sham Night.
Yeah.
M.
M.
Night
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Yes.
Good writer.
M. Night
Very good
Shyamalan,
writer.
something like that.
But they always appear. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. And Hitchcock was always in all of his movies too. And I do believe Hitchcock got a lot of his material from things from Poe, because there's just things in there that there's no way that it's very Poe-like, a lot of his movies. I don't know if you've watched Hitchcock stuff.
He did The Birds, right?
He did The Birds. You think of The Raven, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then he did, of course, Psycho, which is based on a true story.
Yes, of course.
I mean, a lot of good. So I could see you doing those things.
That would be fun. Yeah, I mean, acting is something that has always been in my sights, and maybe stand-up comedy too.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like
stand-up comedy.
Well, you just threw us for a loop.
Yeah.
So
wow.
what comic that's out there that you really like? I mean, stands out to you?
Taylor Tomlinson is a huge inspiration to me. I love everything that, some of the stuff she says, of course, is not exactly family friendly, but it's
yours
funny.
And yours wouldn't be or would be?
I think mine would be.
Oh,
I think I'd
come
be.
on. When you go off to college, there might be a few little filth song things said. I mean,
we'll have to see. We'll see.
Because you'll get in the moment, and things happen. Comedy.
Yes.
Well, I have to say, if Jamie says she's going to do it, she's probably going to do it.
Oh yeah.
Because she's not a boastful type. She just kind of says, "I'm going to do this," and she does it. So, author, you know what you are. I think I can wrap, and this might be very cliche. You are a Renaissance woman.
Oh, wow.
You really are, because you do all these varieties of things, and you do them well. I mean, not just do them, you do them like really everything's exceptional.
Absolutely.
So you're a Renaissance woman.
Wow.
You've heard that before, though.
I've never heard that.
Really?
No one has ever called me that. That is
so.
High praise. Thank you so much.
So here's the thing out there. Of course, I'm going to say hello to David and Jeannie. She is a Renaissance woman, as you all know, and she's a true gift to society and to all of our lives. And is there anything out there that you'd like to say to people that maybe have a gift and maybe are too shy to express that gift? What would you tell them?
Well, I would say if creativity builds up in people, and it just has to come out eventually. And I think that, if you're worried about how people are going to perceive you, like, is this poem good? Is this story good? Like, how many editions of this book, like it's, I'm sorry, I'm like passionate right now, but just write, just paint or dance or do it. Like, don't worry about being bad. Because if you think about like the Wright brothers, technically they built the worst airplane in the world.
So they weren't always right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like you just got to do it, and you'll improve with more practice, and it just
repetition is the mother of skill.
Definitely. definitely. It's all about just getting in getting in the skills to do it. And
Well, you have to. Some people do pick up things right off the bat because they're very visual and they're doing what they're supposed to do. I think I mean, the way you do everything, people probably think it's been easy for you, and it probably some things have been easy, but you've also worked and have not rested on the fact that you have some gifts. You've gone out and you've pushed the boundaries, right?
yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, I've tried.
Because you can tell that you're not the type of person that gets too comfortable.
Yeah.
There's always a new challenge around the block for you.
Definitely.
So, comedy, anything else?
Um, I my lifelong dream has always been to be part of Cirque du Soleil or Cirque du Soleil. That's how you say it. So trapeze. I've done a few trapeze classes, but I would love to do more.
So we have a good friend, Sandra Scheller, who's, of course, just another amazing, another
Another one.
another Renaissance woman. I'm so blessed to be around. My wife's even a Renaissance woman. I'm around all these strong women that I'm even lucky to be in their presence. But she used to make all the costumes for circus.
That's amazing.
And maybe one of these times,
We'd love to introduce you
we'd like
to
to
her.
bring you and maybe you and your parents or yourself to meet her at her place, and you can see some of the beautiful artwork she's created.
I
Oh.
would love
I think you two probably will hit it off.
Yeah, I mean,
You'd be very impressed.
The
And
costuming is
she-
just.
I think she's. I mean, she's a mime.
Oh my gosh.
She actually runs the Holocaust Museum in Chula Vista.
She's an author. She's
Wow.
she's a
Been there.
she's a pilot. On and on and on and on. I mean, just an
Wow.
amazing individual, a good friend.
And these dolls,
That's
she
amazing.
makes these dolls. I mean, I would honestly,
I think that they would hit it off.
yeah, I would pay like $5,000 or more for her dolls
Wow.
because they are so incredibly well made and just they're different. I mean, don't you think?
I do, and I think if you're going to pay $5,000, we better start getting some sales, and getting some sponsors. We do need sponsors. If anybody would like to sponsor our show, of course, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So
Absolutely.
Sarah can buy that $5,000 doll from
No.
from Sandra.
Very
No.
important.
Yeah. No, but I do. We like to help people. That's what we do. Our show, including Brett's radio show on KCBQ.
Which
The
hopefully you'll
Answer.
come on and be a guest and help me co-host.
Wow, I
Yeah.
would.
Then you can
really
add
like
co-host
that.
to your radio co-host to your resume.
That's right.
That'd be amazing.
Well, she's also going to do an article for Beyond the Bridge,
Wow,
Coronado's local newspaper.
we're very lucky.
Yeah, monthly local newspaper.
I don't know if you know, but Poe used to write for the newspapers.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. He wrote
Well,
for
she tell us about what
Oh yes,
you were
I
doing.
was a writer for the Coronado High School newspaper.
which is a really good
Islanders.
newspaper.
Oh wow.
I
Thank
probably
you.
read some of your work.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know.
How
maybe.
cool. I'm sure I have. There's a lot of coincidences. It seems like the more we
I know,
talk,
it's
right?
Like, whoa.
Right?
What's
It's-
happening?
I think it's really cool. So
It is.
everybody out there, go after your dreams, right? Don't be afraid.
Wow.
Push the boundaries.
Go for it.
Don't
Have
worry.
fun.
Don't worry. I mean, it's hard to really not worry about what people think, isn't it?
It is. It's really hard. But
How does one get over that?
you know, I would love to figure that out completely.
Because I think you're brave.
Thank you.
But for those people out there that I've met that are so gifted, but they never can seem to really, they create for themselves and they don't want anybody else to see their work because they're afraid they'll be criticized.
Yeah, I mean, I think when well, I mean, you yourself criticize things too, like movies that come out, like everything. I think that to get over that hump, you just have to say, well, no matter what I do, first of all, I'll be criticized for it somewhere. Like you can't make everyone happy.
True.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just about how much do I really care?
Yeah, everybody will form an opinion
Exactly.
no matter what. And you know what's really amazing about you is that she's, like you said, Brett, she's not boastful. You're actually a very kind person. And you do things, I mean, everything you do is so well, you're so good at it, but you don't, there's some people who, will sing a song and then they get, their head explodes, right? Because they think they're all that. But then, after a while, you're just looking at them and listening and you're going, you know what? I'm sorry, but you're not that great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's because they turn it around and they make themselves, you know, I hate to say it, but ugly,
A
right?
caricature.
Yeah, it's just I don't like so from because just like somebody can be really good, but if they've got a terrible personality,
Yeah.
you look at them and everything just falls, and it's just like no, they're not that good.
Mhm.
Or somebody can be really not that great, but because they're outstanding and the way they,
Well, they're performers, they're passionate.
yeah.
They're, I can think of a lot of very,
Well, then
very,
you look at them and it's like, wow, they're better than what they actually are. I mean, I hate to say that, but you're not that way though. You actually, you exemplify excellence. So
do you,
yeah,
Thank you. That's
so,
very kind.
so you're from, you have Japanese descent.
I don't
she
actually.
Really?
no,
Okay.
she
Now,
doesn't.
really?
Yeah, she was just telling me.
Yeah, on
Tell.
the map there. I was actually born in Uralsk, Kazakhstan.
I see it.
Yeah, adopted at the age of 1, came over to the States.
So Kazakhstan, tell me, so are you Chinese?
No, so Kazakhstan
Because
is
I see
in,
China and Kazakhstan stand very, very close together
yeah,
up
they
there.
are. Yeah, it's Kazakhstan is right between China and Russia.
Russia. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like half European, half Asian. So like I
Oh,
would consider
interesting.
myself like Eurasian.
Yes, that's
Um,
right.
Have
yeah.
you heard of Kazakhstan before?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a big
So
country.
I would venture to guess. I think it would be fascinating. I don't know if you've ever thought about it to do a 23andMe, just to
Yeah,
see the different origins of blood, and
that
if-
would be
you
fascinating.
haven't done
Yeah,
that
I
yet.
mean, I haven't, I just haven't got the time, but
I think it would be fascinating.
I think it would, because
I
in
need to do it.
Kazakhstan, yeah, I mean, in Kazakhstan, there's everyone kind of originated from like all over Asia and all over like Mongolia, and there's a lot of Russian people there. There's just everyone there, and a lot of the like really like true bloodline Kazakhs came from like these tribes that were just from decade like not even, what am I saying? More than decades, obviously, like
Yeah,
thousands and
yeah.
thousands of years ago. There were several tribes that came over from Mongolia and China and places, and Turkey too. And so I think that would be fascinating to see, like, what tribe am I really from?
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
It would be really cool is to get that 23andMe blood test or something like it. What's the other one called that they have?
Ancestry.
Yeah,
Ancestry.
Ancestry.com.
That's right.
Something, one of those two, and to find out. But wouldn't it be cool to find that out? Maybe for some people they don't want to find out. I think it's fascinating. You find out, and then wouldn't it be cool to take a camera crew to those areas that you've never been and document it
Oh my gosh.
and make
that would
and
be
make a
nice.
documentary out of it?
Yeah.
That
oh my
would be
gosh.
cool.
Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be so cool.
I mean, and it would all be new to you. So I mean, the expressions and the energy and everything you would capture. Oh
And
my
her
gosh!
parents are so supportive of her too. I
Yeah.
mean,
By the way, David and Jenny, I'm not saying that you need to spend a lot of money to send her, of course, to this trip, of course.
no,
but-
they would probably want to go, right? I mean,
Of
I would
course.
I would go if my daughter went,
Yeah.
So
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me.
we
No,
hope
I
you
think-
had fun.
I did. It was a lot of fun.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, you're a very gracious host, that's for sure.
The
So
interview's
thank
over. You
the
don't have
two
to
of
kiss up
you.
now.
Well, I guess I would say that
Thank you very much.
if you are looking for a new thing to read, I got this is something right here.
That's right.
Available on Amazon. I've got an Amazon page. Just look up my name, Jamie N. Piearcy. You can look at my Instagram, all that. And that's fun. You
It
can
is,
do that.
it is. And this is actually the next book that I'm going to start reading tonight. Now that the other one's done, I can probably spend about 3 or 4 days probably going through this at night or in the mornings when it's quiet. And I thank you for your gift and for sharing it with the world.
Thank
And
you.
everybody out there, learn to trust your passions, your instincts, and take that leap of faith, because the worst thing I could ever think of is saying, what if?
Yeah, definitely. There's a quote that I love that I live by every day, which is you can spend the rest of your life playing the what if game, but that won't change anything that you've done. So I would much rather look back and say, I'm glad I at least tried. So there's your life lesson, I guess,
There you go.
for today.
That's
Yes.
right. Be kind, everybody.
Well, I want to say thank you, of course, to our sponsors because they're gracious, of course. Attorney King, who I can't thank enough for all of his support and belief in me from day one. He's believed and supported me, and you know, friendships grow and grow with challenges and circumstances, and you find out who your real friends are when circumstances are a certain way. And that's Attorney King. Not only sponsors the show, but he's a good friend. He's like my brother. I'd also like to thank, of course, Saquon Casino and Resort for their belief, and also Cody Martinez, who's having a great time in the Bahamas right now at the Atlantis Hotel.
Lucky.
I told him I could have went and have been his bodyguard or something, but
Yeah.
I think he was fine with
Free
that. But
vacation.
yeah, exactly. But anyway, thank you, Saquon, and we look forward to having our teachers event. Not just teachers, but also people in education. It could be anybody, even like people in the cafeteria, or maybe even some of the janitors who never get recognized. They should be recognized.
I think so too. And we'll talk about that more.
When's the date on that?
December 9th.
December 9th. If you're in town, we would love to have you attend with your family. If not, hopefully you could try to attend, but I understand you're in demand. So, she might be opening for Paul McCartney at that time, but we'll see what we can do. Everybody else out there, of course, Marina Teal, who does a phenomenal job with everything she does, and her IB Fitness Gym, which is where I go every day to work out. And it's a great place to go and train. I highly recommend it in Imperial Beach. Marina Teal's awesome. And of course, last but not least, Marco from Bona Facetta. Did I say it right?
Garage Bona Facetta.
Garage Bona Facetta. Have you been there before?
I have delicious pasta.
Really good job, Marco. And thank you so much for being such a community leader and humanitarian for everybody that you help out all over the place. Thank you. To everybody else out there, remember, yippee-ki-yay, live your dreams, live your life, and have a good day.